Step 4 is locking her into friendship. And the first stage in locking her into friendship is to make her come up with reasons why you guys should be friends. Now, she doesn't have to verbalize these reasons, but of course that's a plus. Verbal ratification is a good thing. But what's important is that she internally comes up with these reasons. Stage 2 for locking her into friendship is to do something to evoke emotional empathy inside her. An example of that would be the brain tumor story that I gave earlier. Or I have a friend of mine who has a story about his mother with MS and how he had to put her into a home. Now, you might not feel comfortable with doing something so radical like that, but it's very powerful. I'm going to give you some exercises in the workbook for coming up with your own stories to evoke emotional empathy in women. Stage 3 of locking her into friendship is to make her reciprocate, to goad her into telling you something equally as emotional. Now, there's a good chance after sharing one of these very emotional stories, she's going to share something of her own. If she doesn't, you can verbally ask her to, and most of the time they will. Stage 4 is to reinforce your friendship with her through showing her that you like her. Stage 5 is to get her to imagine you and her hanging out in absurd contexts. Now, this can range from going horseback riding on the moon to spontaneously getting tattoos. Now, if you're at a bar or a nightclub, you've done enough to at the very least get her phone number. But what you want to try and do is you want to try and pull her from the bar back to your place. Okay, you should be in enough where all you need to do is come up with an excuse to get her back. It could be to come back to your place and drink absinthe, or it could be to see your talking parrot, or it could be for some after hours. Now, I'll tell you something kind of funny. Over the last several years, I've pulled dozens and dozens of women back from nightclubs and bars back to my house with the line, "Oh, you need to come back to my house because I'm having an after party." And most of the time, there is no after party going on at my place. And you might think, wow, these women must get really pissed. The worst that ever happens is they bust my balls about there not being a party. But I would say 99% of the time, they do not care whatsoever. And the reason is that women don't necessarily want to come back to your place with the intention of having sex. Even if they really want to have sex, to go back with that being the intention would make them a slut. So by telling them you're coming back to my place for an after party, you've given them the perfect excuse. Now, regardless if she comes back or not, make sure you get her phone number. So I want to give you some rules for getting her back to your place. If you're by yourself, take her car. You could take your car, but that can be a bit intimidating for a lot of girls. If you take her car, she's at the very least committed to driving you to your house. And this is going to prevent her from changing her mind as she's driving to your house. If you guys are both with friends, have one of your friends go with the girls and one of the girls come with you. This works out great. I've used this several times. It almost always locks the girls in and they end up back at your place.